Today I want to talk about how do you terminate an employee. You know, this is never a fun topic to have to address, but it's one that is a fact of life. If you're a business owner, it's going to happen. It's going to happen at some time. In fact, it's probably going to happen more than once. And it's a critically important thing to understand because there's huge liability if you don't do it right. Now, that being said, I got to put some disclaimers out. First off, I'm not a labor attorney. So, you know, labor laws vary state to state, and I'm broadcasting this to all 50 states. In fact, you know, I even saw some company in England referencing our stuff. So, you know, I'm broadcasting internationally relative to this topic. So first off, make sure you know your local laws. And if you have specific questions, get with a labor attorney. And so there are some things that are very generic here. Disclaimer put out. So that being said, let's talk about the mechanics of how do we do this. And then I want to finish with the psychology of how do we do this, because this is a very tough topic. First and foremost, some of the lessons I've learned in this process, because obviously I've done this myself a few times, is first and foremost, you have to give, I think, you got to give your employee the chance to turn their behavior around. Meaning, if you're having a problem with something they're doing, you need to be you got to have the tough conversation. You got to be very upfront, sit down and say, hey, this isn't working. Here's why. And be very upfront about why it's not working and what you expect to be different, and document it so they have the opportunity to learn from it and grow. You got to give people the opportunity to turn it around, and you got to document it. So my first set of advice is be very clear on expectations of what it is you want. Assuming they're not meeting those expectations, sit down, have the tough conversation of, hey, these are the things I need to have done. And then document it in writing, get their signature that you've given them the opportunity, and then schedule a short period, a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, no more than 4 weeks later, another sit down where you get to have the conversation of, did you make the changes? And the language I always use is, hey, these are the changes I expect to see. If you have not done these, you will have fired yourself. Now, there's psychology behind that. And the psychology is, if you don't do that, you're just the bad guy. But if you made it very, very clear of, hey, I'm handing you the opportunity to get out of hot water, to be successful at your job, and if you choose not to, you're just a fool, then it's their choice. And so I like the psychology of passing the ownership back to the employee so the employee has the opportunity to remedy the circumstance themselves. Have that conversation 30 days later. If they continue, there's no sense in waiting 30 days, right? If day 2, day 3, they're not even close to doing what you've asked them to do, pull the plug, be done. So if you have a plan up front of, we're going to meet on this date and time to review this. If you continue to suck during this 30 days, we'll have this meeting much sooner, but we are going to close the loop at 30 days and sit down and have a conversation. Now, if you've ever been through my kickoff and you know why I do 30 days, it's because it takes about 3-4 weeks to make a new habit. And I want them to make a new habit. So what I would then do at 30 days if they're doing good is I would set another review 90 days later to continue to watch and monitor the behavior change. Make sure it's behavior related. Measurable behavior. You're not perio-probing, you're not collecting, you're not asking, you're not doing stuff. Give them behavioral things. The biggest place you can get into trouble is when you start talking about the person. When you start talking about a person, not their behavior, suddenly you start opening up the door for legal problems. Because there are protected classes of people and protected classes of circumstances that you will get into hot water so fast it's crazy. But if you keep the conversation to this behavior, I need this and this and this done, measurable, observable behavior, you don't get into this challenge. Now, the good news is most of the states in this country are right to hire, right to fire. You can fire them for being purple. You can't fire them for being a minority. You can't fire them for age. You can't fire them for lots of protected classes. But, you know, if they're purple or too tall, you can fire them. You don't have to have a reason. When you do decide, hey, I got to terminate this person, there's a couple things I would do. First off, I would have a witness in the room. So have somebody join you in the conversation. So again, there's no innuendo, there's no he said, she said. Have somebody else there. Have it very short and sweet. meaning don't make this a 15, 20, 30 minute, let them beg for their job back. It's not going to happen. We already gave you all those opportunities. It's done. So make it very, very short and sweet, but keep it, don't be mean, don't be nasty, don't point fingers, you still need to be humane, right? You guys are in this business because you love helping people, and all you want to do is free up this person's future so they can go do something else or go work somewhere else where they will be happier. This is a conversation that needs to be very, very controlled and very, very succinct. I asked you to do this, this, and this. I gave you this opportunity on this date to modify your behavior, and I documented to do this, this, and this, and maybe I wrote you up 2 times or 3 times, and we've come to a point where this is no longer going to work. I'm going to terminate your employment effective immediately. I'd like you to grab all your personal effects out of your operatory, out of your office, out of wherever you have them, and I'd escort them out. Make sure you take their key immediately, and maybe even rekey the office. So keep it short and sweet. This should be no more than a 2 to 5 minute meeting. Short and fast. Hit it fast, be done, get out, be over with a witness there, and have it in writing. Terminated effective immediately because of this, this, and this. Please sign here.
What if you could have the practice of your dreams? What's holding you back? Imagine a life where you have everything you ever wanted.